Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of This Week in Karting here on the EKN Radio Network, episode number 3. It's Thursday, December 14th. My name is Rob Howden, joined, as always, by David Cole. And again, the third episode of a new podcast that we've brought on to the EKN Radio Network, essentially grabbing all the top stories and the news from the homepage of ekartingnews.com. We put it in podcast form, perfect for the morning commute or heading home after work. Throw it on the phone, download it, or listen to it on the EKN Radio Network. Of course, you can download the app as well. And we kind of just summarize everything that's happened over the last week. Now, it's been a while since we've had the last This Week in Karting. David Cole and I, of course, very busy at the SuperKarts USA SuperNationals midway through November. We're into the mid part of December now. Thanksgiving came, obviously everybody getting caught up after Supernats. But Dave, a ton to talk about here. We've had a lot of news coming in as we head towards the end of the 2018 calendar year. But man, a lot of stuff happening, and not surprising as we get ready to start 2019.
Busy as always. There is no downtime in the sport of karting any longer. It was, usually looked at as December. I mean, yeah, there are some guys that are on vacation that I keep seeing on Instagram. They're kind of making me jealous being down in Mexico.
Right.
I'm not going to name any names, but they are from Canada. So,
That's true. That's right.
It is kind of frustrating to see people on vacation, but there's, on the flip side, the majority of the industry is working hard getting ready for the 2019 season.
Well, it depends on what you do, right? We're obviously attached to so many different groups that we're in Las Vegas for 10 days for the Supernats, and then you're heading to Daytona for the first race. I'm actually in the office for a month now before I head to the SKUSA Winter Series opener at Homestead. There are some people, a lot of club racers or regional racers who shut down in September or October. They've had a bit of an off season. We, on the other hand, not. And if you're in the industry, obviously probably not at all, because you're always got your head down. You're working to work on the program. But again, This Week in Karting, a brand new podcast, the third edition of this particular show. And the feedback that we got on the initial show is very, very good. And we thank you for that, folks. To get feedback from our listeners, input, we love to hear it. If you have suggestions, we love it. So thank you so much for all the notes that you gave. David, let's jump into This Week in Karting. There's a lot going on. And I think one of the first things, anytime you see the development or the launch of a new program, it's very interesting. SuperKarts USA announcing the return, essentially, of the Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge. They have the California Pro Kart Challenge. They've got the Texas Pro Kart Challenge. They were very close with the Can-Am Karting Challenge up in the Pacific Northwest, which is now an IKF regional program, the Northwest region. But essentially, David, SuperKarts USA and Joe Janowski in particular, bringing back what really was and has been from the future, or from the past of SKUSA, really the cornerstone program, the Great Lakes Pro Series. That was where SKUSA started with Don Janowski and his wife, Sue.
It was, and it probably had to do a lot with location. they're Indiana. So the Great Lakes was the region that they looked after. It was their home. Just like when SuperKarts USA was purchased by Tom Kutcher, a lot of the organization was California based, and that's why we've seen the California Pro Kart Challenge grow into being such a phenomenal regional program that goes from February to the end of September. It's what Tom was doing before he purchased SKUSA, really, in all honesty.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, he had a Pro Kart Challenge going before he bought SuperKarts USA. You're right.
So, so that was their bread and butter. And so now he's always said over and over again, he wanted to expand, and he's done so with Texas Pro Kart. He's got Mark and Gina French there doing a great job. It was Dave Pauly before that. And now, they want to bring it back home, I guess.
Well, anytime you're a national organization like SuperKarts USA is with the Pro Tour, they've got a couple of regionals in place. Eventually, you're trying to put regionals in all the areas of the country where you could serve your customers. They have the Pro Tour, which is coast to coast. So again, obviously big on the homepage of ekartingnews.com. And it got pushed out on all our social media platforms as well. SKUSA Director of Competition, Joe Janowski, relaunching essentially the Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge. More details will come, David. We'll go over the schedule in a second, but the bottom line is you're very likely going to see the Micro and Mini Swift, X30 categories, likely KA100. junior and senior. We'll see if they add the master category. And then, then they're going to have the SSE class as well for the new IAME shifter engine. It would not surprise me, knowing the community around the Great Lakes area, the Midwest, where they're going to have this program, that they could potentially have a stock Honda class as well.
And I think that's the reason for the creation of this program, is to expand shifter kart racing again. It's something that we noticed throughout 2018 when we talked about podcast after podcast, how the uncertainty of shifter kart racing in SuperKarts USA because of the whole engine shift. Well, I think, they're going full speed ahead with the new engine package, but they're also providing an opportunity to still utilize the Honda engine. So I think this series is more created towards expanding the shifter part of the organization, because as we all know, the Midwest area, and it's something I'm working on a column for Friday as well, is the Midwest is diluted with the amount of series that we have in the area.
Yeah, that would obviously be the second discussion here about the Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge being launched. There's so much racing already going on in that area, and I look forward to having a look at your article, because it's the truth. There's just so much racing going on in that area. But again, if you're SuperKarts USA, you've got to expand. You've got to make some moves. And let's have a quick look at the schedule. They'll be starting in mid-April, Newcastle Motorsports Park. It's an early start, April 13th, 14th. First week of June, they head to Concept Haulers Motor Speedway, Norway, in Illinois. At the end of June, they're going to head up to Road America to C-Tech Manufacturing Motorplex, and they'll cap off the season on the first week of August, a couple of weeks before the SuperKarts USA Summer Nationals.
The weekend before.
Oh, you're right. It's the weekend before Newcastle Motorsports Park. So, yeah, you're going to see some good numbers of that race as people use that as a tune-up, of course, for Summer Nats.
Yeah, you're going to have USBKS the last weekend in July. You'll have SKUSA Great Lakes the following weekend, and then the Pro Tour the weekend after that.
I can hear it in your voice, David. It's going to be a really interesting, column you're coming out with. There is a lot of racing going on in that area. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm still combing through it and trying to make sure I'm polite enough in it.
Send it over to me. I'll edit it and take out all the curse words.
Oh, yes. Okay, perfect.
So again, we're working our way through, folks. We're going to give you an opportunity here to really get in a nice, concise podcast what's been going on and what we've had on the homepage of ekartingnews.com. Last couple of days, this week, David, really, EK and Driver Rankings Week. Coming out with, you sat down, went through the spreadsheet, plugged in the results from the SuperNationals, which are always so important, the most highly ranked race in our program. So if you do well at the SuperNats, you're going to bounce up. If you do poorly, a good possibility you're going to see yourself fall a little bit. David, let's talk about this. Stock Honda first, a surprise finish. AJ Myers didn't run in the Pro Shifter class in 2017 at the SuperNats. He ran X30 Senior instead, so he didn't have that big SuperNats number on his point total. He ends up finishing second on SuperSunday behind Billy Musgrave, and that was enough for him to jump to the top of the charts in stock Honda. I thought that was pretty wild.
Yeah, it's my mistake because we kind of crowned Billy Musgrave a little early. We actually talked to him SuperSunday, and we talked about it in the debrief as well. Again, it's, when you're doing these calculations, there's over 500 drivers, over 100 events that we're trying to cover. And that part just never caught my eye to the fact that, well, what if Myers does well there? When I saw his point spread going into SuperNats, I was like, okay, he has 7 events, so he's going to drop what he did last year. Well, not really looking at it until I did the points for the end of the year that he wasn't at the SuperNats in S1 last year. So that was a big factor in the way Myers was able to do it. And also, Myers won twice on the Pro Tour this year. That's something Musgrave was unable to do. Musgrave went winless in the Pro Tour. He was in the championship hunt until the end, and Myers was able to grab the crown. Musgrave still had an amazing season, going perfect in the California Pro Kart Challenge and winning his first Streets of Lancaster Grand Prix. But and repeating at SuperNats. So the 2018 season was still strong for Musgrave, but by the numbers and the way we calculate it, AJ Myers came out on top.
Yeah, so we'll give a congratulations to AJ Myers and a public apology to Billy Musgrave, because indeed we talked to Billy after the race saying, "Hey, dude, you're great job, you won. You're very likely going to be number one ranked driver. You're going to get a new Bell helmet, be a Bell athlete." And dude, sorry. So apologies to Billy Musgrave. We kind of got a little ahead of ourselves, and and David, you said it straight up. There's so many races that we do, and that we just didn't look at that. You missed it. I missed it. That AJ didn't have that big Super Nats number from last year. Now, again, with the rankings, it's a sliding scale of 12 months. So we don't go back 2 years on what you did. It's the last 12 months. So when you go past the Super Nats, you drop last year's Super Nats and you pick this year's Super Nats up. Same thing when they get past the Winter Series. You drop those, you pick the new ones up. And, AJ didn't have to drop last year's Super Nats because he didn't have one. And again, as I said, the Super Nats, the highest ranked event, a base ranking of 10, just to start it off, where the pro stuff is 9s and regions is 8 to start. That's massive. And again, kudos to AJ Myers. What a great season for him, as you said, winning on the Pro Tour, which is so important, big points there, and then second at the Super Nats. So he is our driver of the year for the Stock Honda category. Big thanks to the folks from Bell Racing USA, Chris Wheeler and the crew. He'll become a Bell athlete and a brand new Bell helmet for 2019. He'll look good with those. And I'll tell you, Dave, first and foremost, when I was at the PRI show, the new carbon helmets from Bell, ridiculous. I picked it up. I started giggling. That's how light it is. I can't believe how light.
Well, and I like the new color insides that they've launched as well too. The ability to have different colors inside the helmet around the cushions. So that'll be something cool.
The yellow would work for you, David, because you never get your hands dirty, right? So it'd be all right, I think.
Ouch. I believe I recall wrenching on all my stuff that I've ever raced before. So
the only reason you have to wrench all your stuff is because
I'm not the pre-Madonna announcer that just slides in at 9:59 when it's time to go on air at 10. I'm actually in there doing the hard work, laying out the cables and connecting everything. I would be the one to say that you don't get your hands dirty.
Well, I don't have to get my hands dirty because I don't wreck as much as you do. I'm not always having to fix stuff.
The early days of you, yes, I believe some buckets in the bales were done by you.
Yeah, that's true. I have wrecked a couple times.
Let's move on to other things.
Tag. EKN driver rankings for Tag. Obviously, one of the things that was on the EKN homepage this week. What more can you say about Ryan Norberg? We talked about Billy Musgrave and AJ Myers battling it out for position. Ryan Norberg, national number one at the end of last year, never surrenders the national number one ranking on EKN at all this year. In every ranking that we sent out, he never lost the number one. And again, 3-time SKUSA Pro Tour champion, our driver of the year, number one ranked driver in the tag category.
Just when you think he's going to get beat, he kind of just comes out and does the job that he needs to do to be able to not only earn 3 straight SKUSA Pro Tour championships, but as you said, go wire to wire, holding the number one spot in our EKN driver rankings all season long, and finishing for the second straight year as the number one driver. Amazing.
Now let's be real though, because congratulations, number one driver, Bell athlete again for Ryan Norberg, another new Bell helmet for him. It almost didn't happen because I know I'll let you go into it a little bit more because obviously you do all the work on the rankings. Samuel Lupien, the last couple of laps he would have taken over number one.
Well, yeah, Lupien was in the hunt all week long, something that Norberg wasn't. Norberg had probably one of the worst weeks he's ever had in racing, but luckily made the main and finished 24th. But that didn't help him in the ranking side. Now, Lupien, on the other hand, was in the hunt for the win. Had one of those great heat races. I think it was Saturday night that we saw where it was all Rollison Performance Group racers up there. But Lupien was in the hunt, was sitting third as they took the white flag and came out of one and got moved into the wall, bending an axle and ending his race 1 lap short of the finish. Now, if he would have finished on the podium, in looking back now at the points, anywhere 14th or better, he would have came out as the number one driver in the ECAN driver rankings.
Wow. Isn't it that? And again, that's just that. It happens that quickly at a race like the SuperNationals, right? 14th or better, and Samuel Lupien's number one and not Ryan Norberg. So we give Ryan a lot of props. Great season for him. He wins the SKUSA Pro Tour, but I don't want to say needed a bit of luck, but as fate would have it, Samuel Lupien gets put into the wall coming out of turn number 2, and boom. He is not only is he not going for the race win, he's not on the podium at the SuperNats, and he also loses the number 1 ranking, which is tough for sure.
Yeah, and I would have to put Lupien on the favored driver next year going into 2019 as probably one of those to be among the championship contenders, because again, even in the Pro Tour, he had 2 DNFs that just that cost him the championship there as well too. So anything goes. Like you said, the racing fate, racing gods, whatever it was, they decided to have Ryan Norberg be at the top.
Well, keep an eye on Samuel Lupien next year. The Rawlson Performance Group crew really hitting their stride, especially at Las Vegas. Just as we get out of the rankings, that was the one thing that I picked up, which I thought was amazing. Rawlson Performance Group brought 8 drivers for the X30 Senior event at SuperNats, qualified all 8 drivers into the main event. Out of 87 drivers, they essentially had about 10% of the field, all of them into the main event. That's pretty impressive for that team. And of course, Samuel Lupien, Cedric Lupien, Ben Cooper with the win, Hannah Greenmeyer. You go down the list of just some talented drivers able to get into the main. So kudos to them for sure. David, let's continue to talk about Ryan Norberg, because one of the things that came out, and this is back to the SuperNats. We actually announced it there, but they were just had the event. We selected Ryan Norberg as our at-large pick for the Mazda Road to Indy $200,000 scholarship shootout in Phoenix. We announced it at the SuperNats. Again, we've talked all about Ryan, 3-time Pro Tour champion, number 1 ranked driver in 2017 and 2018. They had that event, the shootout for $200,000, which a driver then gets to take to USF 2000. It was December 7th, 8th, and 9th, just last weekend. At Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park in Phoenix. They were in the Bondurant Formula Mazda cars. It was going to be tough for Ryan, and I knew it. Any guy that we send there as part of our at-large pick is going up against 20 drivers from around the world who have won the scholarship ticket through a full year of racing cars. Formula Ford, F1600, F2000, Formula Enterprises, a number of different series. They bring their champions in. So there's Ryan with hardly any car seat time going head-to-head with all these champions from around the world. I was extremely proud of what he was able to do. I got great feedback from people that were there, and the Mazda folks said, man, Ryan did a tremendous job, both in and out of the car as well. So for me, and I know you feel the same way, I'm proud of what he did and the way he was able to represent both karting and ekartingnews.com.
Without a doubt. Yes, he might not have been able to win it, might not have been one of the finalists, but as you said, very impressed the people that were there in Mazda, the Road to Indy people. Yeah. I'm sure a couple of the sponsors, Cooper Tires as well. Just people there. It put his name on the map at least to help him looking at 2019 or beyond. So, and as we look, last year our selection, Jake Craig, again, was put in kind of the same position last year, very limited amount of open wheel experience, was there again this year and made the top finalist and wasn't able to win it again this year. So it really shows how tough it is to be able to walk away with that scholarship victory.
Yeah, I talked to some good folks from the series, and they said that this easily the most talented group they've had. This is the 3rd shootout they've done, and the most talented group of drivers. Just blown away by the talent that they had on the racetrack. It was so hard for them to pick who was going to win. Indeed, the driver who did win, Hunter McElroy, American-born in California, lives in New Zealand now. He won the scholarship. Not sure who he's going to run with yet in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, but kudos to Hunter for getting that job done. And again, big thank you for Ryan for representing us so well. Moving on, more news that came out this week in karting. David, really big news out of the WKA camp, looking for some cool events. The Manufacturers Cup's got its program, but trying to do something new, something fresh, right? The Battle of the Brickyard's been great. The return of the Quincy in the Park event. WKA going back to Charlotte Motor Speedway with all 3 of their programs, dirt, road racing, and Man Cup. I think this is cool. This harkens back to when I first got into the sport as a journalist in the mid-90s, and we would go down to the North American Karting Championships, in the fall every year, where the road racing guys were there. They were running the dirt. They're running dirt. They're running the asphalt track out back as well. They had the Briggs & Stratton 300, the oval race out front. Dude, this is going to be a big deal back at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it's a combination of, like you said, Maxxis Speedway Dirt Series. They will actually be racing at the dirt track at CMS, which is just outside the facility where the World of Outlaws and your late models and all those big events come in and race around the quarter-mile dirt oval track there. The Vega Road Racing Series is going to use the majority of that Roval that you saw NASCAR use this year. It's a bit of a layout change depending on how we can get carts around there. They're going to look at obviously the safest layout possible for that location. Obviously, being a Roval, you have a lot of walls, and the way they built that infield section, it's not exactly like Daytona, so it's a little different. And then the Bridgestone Manufacturers Cup Series is going to use part of that Roval in course field as the basis for their sprint track. So it's a little depressing because it's not the original sprint track that we've been to inside turns 3 and 4 there. That surface is still rough, beat up, lots of cracks, lots of bumps. So it's basically unusable for a racetrack. But maybe if this event triggers a lot of momentum, maybe the Speedway will look at fixing the old track and bringing back some of that nostalgia that we haven't seen at karts around there in probably over a decade. I think it was 2008 maybe.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's you know what, it's got all the makings for a tremendous event. Of course, WK is going to have to go to work, as you said, figuring out exactly the layouts they want to use for the road race course and for Man Cup. Again, it would be awesome to get back on that track that they essentially would carve out of the access roads, the kind of camping roads on the inside of the racetrack. But again, that event set for June 21, 22, 23. Keep an eye on all the social media from WKA. We'll have all the updates on ekartingnews.com. But the bottom line is that third weekend of June, WKA going back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, 3 events, dirt, road racing, and Man Cup. I mentioned earlier we were there with dirt back in the 90s. No, it was actually all asphalt.
Correct, yeah.
They didn't do any dirt racing. They have an asphalt. There's an asphalt oval. I remember going to the asphalt oval out back too. In fact, it was called Outback Speedway. But the Briggs & Stratton 300 was always fun to watch using the front oval with part of the pit lane, and that was always fun to watch. I used to love that race. 300 laps. And
with the addition of this event, they've had to change the Manufacturer Cup Series schedule around a little bit. They added Road America, so they're going to the sprint track, the C-Tech manufacturing motorplex there. So they've had to rearrange that. So again, if you go to the worldkarting.com website, you'll see the full schedule there.
There you go. Update from David Cole. Folks, this is episode number 3 of This Week in Karting. Perfect podcast to listen either on the way to work, on the way home from work. Just make sure you download the ECAN Radio Network app. We'll make sure it's playing pretty much that time throughout this week and next week for you. And then, of course, we'll get it up in podcast form as well. Stick with us. More to come on the other side of this break. We're talking SKUSA Winter Series, Florida Winter Tour. We're talking about Briggs & Stratton. A lot more to come on this edition of This Week in Karting.
I'm Jake Craig, and you're listening to the ECAN Radio Network.
For over a century, Briggs & Stratton has had a commitment and passion for racing. It's a DNA found in every engine we build today. So whether you kart race, Baja, race quarter midgets, or believe that dirt and snow are just God's way of adding to the challenge, the dedicated spirit of every Briggs & Stratton employee stands at the fence waiting for the green flag to drop. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you?
History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation is located just outside of Indianapolis, and they have provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers throughout their near 6 decades of business. Comet's online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. Comet Kart Sales attends dozens of karting events every year, offering trackside service for racers and families. Karting veterans Mark Dismore Jr. and Gary Lawson provide one-on-one driver coaching and tuning assistance for each trackside customer. The engine building business, Comet Racing Engines, has won countless major events and championships over decades of karting, and they continue to offer the best trackside service in the industry. Make sure you head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be a part of the Comet Kart Sales family today.
Since 2003, K1 Race Gear has been a one-stop shop for all your indoor and outdoor karting needs. From racing shoes, suits, and driving gloves to chest protectors, rib vests, accessories, and bags, K1 Race Gear provides quality karting products for the enthusiast and the professional alike. We have an incredible lineup of K1 karting suits designed to fit everyone's budget. Check out our entry-level GK2, the new Apex 2, and our top-of-the-line Speed 1 suit. Then, choose from our Apex and RS1 karting gloves and add in our K1 shoes, rib protectors, and neck collars. If you need a custom suit to support your sponsors, we can create a custom look as unique as you are. As you would expect, our custom suits are made to order. With pricing as low as $495, you're sure to find a suit that not only satisfies your racing needs, but is easy on the wallet as well. We take care of all of our customers at K1 Race Gear, not just the ones with deep pockets. Visit K1RaceGear.com today and get everything you need for your next racing season.
Hello, karting fans. This is IndyCar driver Zach Veach, and you're locked into the EKN Radio Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EKN Radio Network. Pleased that you're tuning in to our newest edition of This Week in Karting. If you're driving, drive safe. Focus forward, please. Rob Howden with David Cole. David, let's jump into really what is going to be essentially our, at least my next travel race. You're going to be going to Kart Week at Daytona right after Christmas, before New Year's. After that, when we get around to the 2019 season, the SKUSA Winter Series and the Florida Winter Tour firing up down in the Sunshine State. SuperKarts USA, their second running of this Winter Series program, kind of the unofficial spring training for the Pro Tour. Both events going to be held at AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex. They're going to change, I think they're going to change directions on the track. First race, January 11, 12, 13. Second race, February 8, 9, 10. Of course, they released some of the prize package. That was essentially the big news that came out from SuperKarts USA.
Yeah, $80,000 prize package coming in for the two event series. It doesn't include any IME international final tickets, but it does include a lot of Pro Tour, a lot of IME prizes, a lot of Invinco, MG, lots of different prizes for all the different categories. I think kind of the biggest news about the program, one, not only just racing both events at Homestead, but it'll be the debut basically of the new IME SSE power plant used for Pro Shifter and Master Shifter, with no Hondas that weekend.
Yeah, no stock Honda at all for the Winter Series this year. All IME SSE 175cc shifter power plant. Looking forward to seeing what they do in both Pro Shifter and Master Shifter. Of course, the engine now available. We're seeing a lot of people on social media bolting it on, getting it ready, getting out testing,
weighing it.
I don't expect. I saw that Josh Lane jumping on there, weighing all the different engines, and I think he said it was 8 pounds. Overall, it's 8 pounds heavier than the stock Honda.
They've been saying that from the start. It's been said that from the start, but everybody, it's social media. It's all this fake news that, no, it weighs 15 pounds more. Well, maybe your fat ass weighs a little more than that now.
Exactly.
So it's
8
just,
pounds.
We know Josh Lane has a fat ass, or not no ass, just a fat head.
Wow.
So,
wow.
we know.
Dude, it's Thursday. Why are you so feisty right now?
It's winter. I'm cold. I'm freezing. I need to get to warm temps.
I hear
I'm stuck in a basement. Come on. I'm the guy in the basement. Let me out.
That's right. Let me go somewhere warm. But you know what's good?
Yes.
I hope it doesn't rain in Daytona. I mean, you'll be all bitchy again if that happens.
Rob, I will curse you if it rains.
All right. Well, I can live with that. In addition to Pro Shifter and Master Shifter at the SKUSA Winter Series, Micro and Mini Swift, X30 Junior, Senior, and Master. New for 2019, David, the KA100 Junior and Senior category. That's going to be running on both the Winter Series and the Pro Tour this year. And the return as well of the Briggs 206 Master and Senior categories coming in as well. I'm told there's potentially some more news coming out about those programs and about the entry package. But as David said, an $80,000 prize package put together for this year's SuperKarts USA Winter Series.
It'll be interesting to see how the entries unfold with X30 Junior versus KA100 Junior, and then your X30 Senior versus a KA100 Senior. So with those mixed in, it'll be interesting to see, does anybody double dip, or are people going to sway towards one towards the other, or is it just going to be an even split type deal?
That's the question, right? Will it rob the X30 Junior and Senior classes and with guys running KA instead, or will it bring in some new clientele? And that's, I think, Supernats, David, we saw new clientele. It was a lot of new guys that maybe wouldn't have run Supernats that came out to run KA instead, which I think was great.
I agree. And that's where we're wondering, what is it going to do down in Florida?
Yeah, no doubt. When it comes to the Pro Shifter and Master Shifter with the new SSE, I don't expect to see a ton of drivers. I don't think we're going to see 20 or 30 guys. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 10 or 12 to get things underway because it's so early. I'm not expecting to see massive grids in Pro Shifter and Master Shifter, but the bottom line is it's getting rolling, get it out there. People are going to start driving the thing. I'm looking forward to it. People, the feedback we've heard, people are loving it, so it should be solid. Let's jump now into the Florida Winter Tour. They get going a week after SKUSA does. They again a different approach for the Rock Cup Winter Tour deal with Garrett Potter. They're going to Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens in Florida. The stadium there. They're going to run on the parking lot there. January 17th to the 20th, the first race. February 14th to the 17th, a different layout again at Hard Rock Stadium. They cap it all off March 21st to the 24th up at Ocala Grand Prix. That's where they'll have the finale. It'll be interesting, David. I think I said the first time, but we believe, well, I think you talked to Bill Wright. Maybe not the first time, but a temporary circuit for the Florida Winter Tour.
Yeah, maybe the first time since, I believe it was the first year where they had a temporary circuit at a college. I'm forgetting the name of the college.
I don't remember that
location, but it was in the northern part of Miami, is what I was told. Right. So again, it's what Bill said, and he's hard to get a hold of. He's just cruising around the
he's
world.
A world traveler.
Yeah, so
him and Carla rolling around.
And he's probably doing some iRacing when he gets settled in too. So
no doubt about that. True.
But yeah, the new thing to the Winter Tour, aside from the new location at Hard Rock Stadium, which is scene of the immaculate play we just saw last weekend in the NFL. That was pretty cool.
The Dolphins beating the Patriots. I love that.
What they
was
called
awesome.
it, the Fanatic, or I don't know, whatever. Anyways,
you should have. We might want to write that down next time.
I had it and then I forgot it.
It's not the Immaculate Reception.
No, that's Pittsburgh.
That's right.
They're bringing in kind of what Bill Wright did before he stepped away from the Winter Tour, was bringing the Briggs into it. They're providing a Briggs 206 Junior and Senior class for the first and third events, and Briggs and Stratton is providing a reduced entry fee for those events. So a little bit of a mini series for Briggs racers on that program. Just two events, first in January and the second in March at Ocala. So that'll be neat.
You know what, Dave? For 206 guys like you and I, or anybody in Canada or up here in the cold who is having the seasonal disorder like you are, good opportunity to throw the cart in the back of the truck or the trailer, get out of Dodge, get out of the snow, get south into some warm weather and do some racing. Right? It's both SKUSA and the Florida Winter Tour, the Rock Cup guys offering Briggs. Get down there.
That's 4 weekends. It's 4 weekends through January and March. So 2 with SKUSA, 2 with Florida Winter Tour. It's a good little mini vacation, and it's, like you said, an escape from the cold weather.
Out of the tundra. Micro, Mini, Junior, Senior, and Masters Rock. all part of the program, of course. And then the rock shifters. Are they running a rock shifter? I'm pretty sure. They're.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't
Right.
include that. Yeah, of course. Rock. Yeah, masters and senior shifter as well. Too.
100cc junior and senior as well. Very similar to the SKUSA deal. They're running the Rock VLR 100 and the IAME KA 100 together. Both of those running together. I wonder if we'll have to get a confirmation from Garrett whether or not they're going to run the junior with the both engines, the Rock and the IAME. You know, when I did the podcast with Andy Saisman, he's not going to run. He's going to run the KA, or rather the KA 100 and the VLR 100 in senior together. But in the junior category, if they do run the junior category with the Challenge of the Americas, it'll be Rock only.
Their website says Rock VLR /IAME KA 100 for the junior 100 senior junior 100cc category.
We'll see how it works.
Again, we'll see how it works. Again, a lot of new things going into the 2019 season.
You're right. There's a lot at play here, a lot on the table. Dave, we talked quite a bit about the Briggs program in both the Winter Tour and the Florida Winter Tour and the Winter Series with Superkarts USA. Briggs on the homepage of ekartingnews.com with their brand new 2019 rule set. The rules come out, and essentially, we'll talk a bit about it. I had a really good chat with David Klaus down at the PRI show. Essentially, 10 years without a rule change that has impacted any 206 or short block built by Briggs. And that's an interesting call because I'll talk a little bit about the change to the rule set for 2019.
Well, I think the one that gained a lot of attention was the change in the piston pop-up, going from 5 thousandths to 35 thousandths, which essentially we call decking, is what people are calling it, or, you know, basically you're eliminating surface of the block to where the piston pops up. And it just seems to be a lot of controversy in Northern California. That's kind of where a lot of this is focused on. I talked to a number of engine builders and series promoters on this side of the country, and they said, yeah, if you're not doing anything to the engine, this change is not a big deal. There's no deal whatsoever. If you are doing something to the engine, it's going to be an issue. And again, that's where Briggs comes in and says, if you have left your engine alone and not done any modifications, this rule has no effect on you whatsoever. And I think that's the problem that we are seeing with this rule change, especially in Northern California.
Well, the simple fact is that you're not allowed to mill the top of the head or the block or anything. You can't do it. You can't remove any material. If you've moved material, then you're going to be in trouble. That's as simple as that. And as you said, 5 thou was the initial. They've cut it down to 35 10,000. So essentially, cutting that little bit off to tighten it up. And in talking to Dave Klaus, they were able to even perfect their tolerances coming out of the shop, coming out of their own build. Because remember, Briggs assembles every one of these engines by themselves. They have their own race motor shop. So the program for 206 is you pull it out of the box and you race it. I'll do that again this year. I did it at Rock Island. You've done it before. When we go to the Brickyard, Battle of the Brickyard this year, when you and I are both racing, I'm pulling an engine right out of the box and I'm bolting it on and I'm going racing. And that's the program.
Well, the engine we have in my garage is from 2014. It was taken out of the box and has not been opened whatsoever. It's had oil changes and we've checked the valves and that's it.
So in addition, on the new 2019 rule set, David, they made an adjustment, I guess, on the security seals as well.
Yeah, it's something I'm not quite familiar with, but obviously we'll learn more as we get closer to 2020. The only security seals with a black integrated thread wire or the red/black wire and orange seal housing will be legal for competition. So I think it's something we'll probably break down a little bit more as the season goes along. So that way more people are familiar with, okay, what is this rule change that I'm going to need? Because in 12 months from now, those engines that he's talking about are the only ones going to be legal. So we need to find out, okay, what is not going to be legal in terms of Briggs and Stratton rule set. So we'll talk to Dave Klaus. We'll get a full clarification on that and get it on EKN for everybody.
Last but not least, when it comes to Briggs, David, we'll be rocking out our profiles of the drivers who finished in the top 10 of the 2018 Briggs Weekly Racing Series. You just look at the sheer number of drivers who have been part of this program now. This thing has exploded. It blows me away to think how many guys have jumped onto that Weekly Racing Series. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and it could be more because, again, a lot of tracks aren't participating in the program. I think they had just over 50 tracks from Canada and the United States. And with junior, senior, and masters drivers, I think they accumulated over 3,500 drivers to be part of the program. So 50 tracks with 3,500 drivers, you do the math. It's definitely a good way to help promote the sport and a good way of showing the numbers that that Briggs & Stratton is providing, and just the growth of club racing again.
Agreed. It's firming up that foundation, folks. We've got that pyramid working the way it should be, and that's why when there are people that get down on karting these days, I'm pretty happy with it. I look at it and say, wow, we're rebuilding the foundation. I think there's a good future for the sport, and again, huge kudos and thank you to Briggs & Stratton. This 206 program has really, as Dave Klaus and I always say, it pressed the reset button on club racing, no doubt about that. Let's go back to the West Coast, David. Another piece of news that we had front and center on ekartingnews.com was the launch of a brand new series there as well, the California Rock Championship. Andy Saisman from FTK Promotions launching a new series, which essentially is providing all the racers of the Rock program in California with a kind of a traveling series that will go all the way up into Northern California to Prairie City and also down, into the LA area at Cal Speed. Just really giving an opportunity for the Rock racers of California to get on track more.
It is. It's something that the racers came to Andy and said, we want this. Yeah. And so he was able to, again, with the West Coast, you have a number of racing programs. You have your clubs, you have some of your travel series, and not to mention all the national racing that's going on too. So he was able to find 4 dates that he could provide 4 races for these people to go out and race. And again, we're not talking, they're probably not going to reach, 150 drivers, but it's still going to be a solid program that provides a good 2-day format to go out and race and try different tracks and great prizes at the end of the year.
Yeah, same structure as Andy's Challenge of the Americas for Rock Cup. 2-day format, essentially practice and qualifying on Saturday, and then all the racing on Sunday. Try to get out of there by 4 o'clock. $399 entry fee, which includes the tires. 4 races, May 18th and 19th at Buttonwillow, June 22nd and 23rd at Willow Springs, up north on July 27th and 28th to the Prairie City Kart Track, and they'll cap things off on Labor Day weekend at Cal Speed Karting in Fontana, August the 31st, September 1st. All right, one more break in this edition of This Week in Karting. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. After this little stoppage, we will come back, talk USPKS, talk a little bit about Margay, and then we'll review the podcasts that have been on the EKN radio network over the last couple of weeks.
Hi, EKN listeners. This is Jeff Wessel from Streeter Superstands. When it comes to lifts and stands for your carts and the largest selection of shop and trailer accessories, we know all about building and giving you the best. The Streeter Superstands crew has over 30 years of experience, are kart racers just like you, and know that the Streeter name stands for durability, affordability, and most of all, quality. We're the original and genuine manufacturer of Bigfoots and stacker stands, and we build them right here in the USA, along with our best-selling Streeter Superlift, upright stands, and an ever-growing roster of shop and trailer accessories to outfit any trailer or garage. While some guys pretend to be number one, we prove it every day, every race. Racers demand the best, and Streeter Superstand builds it. Check us out at StreeterSuperstands.com. When it comes to the best in lifts, stands, shop and trailer accessories, and all the cool necessities to make your race day easy and organized, it's all at StreeterSuperstands.com. We innovate, not imitate. Roll with the best right now at StreeterSuperstands.com.
Are you looking for a new kart shop? One that treats you like you're an important customer? If so, look no further than Acceleration Kart Racing. At Acceleration, customer service is number one. We are a full-time karting business, not a hobby or an afterthought. We have all the products you're looking for, from kit carts to shifters, safety to speed. We strive to offer our customers the best products, prices, and service. At Acceleration Kart Racing, we're always here when you need something for your racing program. Located in Las Vegas, Acceleration is stocked with a wide range of products. We've been helping racers get the right parts for over 16 years. Acceleration has everything that a kart racer needs, from turnkey carts to safety equipment, engines, and more, stocking all of the leading kart racing brands. Here's a taste of the products that we carry every day. CRG, Tony Kart, Bennett, Rotax, Honda, Miami, MG Tires, Vinco, Bridgestone, Mojo, Alpine Stars, Sparco, Ribtech, and EVS, Tillett, Micron, Alfano, Bell, Arai, Zamp, KG, Sniper, SweetTech, and K&N. It doesn't matter where you live in the country. We will get you what you need so you can get back on the track. Acceleration has a sufficient supply of products to ensure that your order can be shipped the very same day. Our knowledgeable staff is available to help customers 6 days a week, and ordering online is open 24 hours a day at shop8kr.com. For visitors and locals in the Las Vegas area, Acceleration has a large showroom full of the best kart racing products available. Come on in and check it out. Find out more about what Acceleration has to offer, visit shop8kr.com. Again, shop8kr.com. And make sure to sign up to be on our mailing list to receive the latest updates and promotions that we send throughout the season. Again, we're a one-stop shop. shop8kr.com. From coast to coast, Miami has become the two-cycle engine of choice for American karting. Starting with the air-cooled 60cc Swift engine and moving through to the incredible X30 power plant, Miami is providing much-needed stability for the sport. The Swift and X30 engines are the backbone of the SuperKart USA Pro Tour and Pro Kart Challenge Series, as well as the USPKS, the Route 66 Sprint Series, and the WKA Manufacturers Cup. We're thrilled to introduce the new Miami KA100 Rejet engine with a special introductory price of just $16.95 until the end of February. The new engine is getting rave reviews and will be part of the USPKS, Route 66, and WKA Man Cup programs in 2018. Watch for more regions of the country to get on board with this new formula. We have 2 distribution centers in the U.S. to serve you well. Miami East in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Miami West in Temecula, California. The momentum is continuing to build, so it's time to make an investment in stabilizing your engine program. For more information on Miami, head to the website for your region, MiamiUSAEast.com or MiamiUSAWest.com.
Hello, karting fans. This is Gabby Chavez, and you're locked into the EKN Radio Network.
Welcome back to episode number 3 of This Week in Karting here on the EKN Radio Network. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on your mobile device through the EKN Radio Network app, or you have downloaded the podcast through iTunes or Google Play. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. My name's Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. DC, let's jump into one of the programs that you'll be with throughout the 2018 season, the United States Pro Kart Series. You know where you're going now. You had the dates, but now we got the venues as well.
We do have the venues, and the same venues that I went to in 2018. We get to go back to Ocala Grand Prix in April, which will open up the 2019 USPKS season. It'll be the 7th season. 7th season for United States Pro Kart Series. I had to think about that for a minute there. And then we go to GoPro Motorplex again in June. So it'll be another great weekend of ice cream eating because it's going to be muggy there. As we all know, it always tends to be in North Carolina. And then July 20, as we talked about earlier, July 26, 28 at Newcastle Motorsports Park, which essentially was the SKUSA Pro Tour warm-up. Now with the Great Lakes SKUSA program, we're not quite sure what it'll be. So
I would think a lot of guys are going to bring their trailer there and park it and leave it there for 3 weeks.
It more than likely will be, because I think, again, when you look at the USPKS program, the IME classes with the micro, the mini, the junior, senior, and even now master, which was phenomenal in 2018, those categories really draw in a lot of big names. And with the limited schedule of just, those 3 events, a lot of people are going to Ocala just to start out the year. There'll be people at GoPro Motorplex because it is GoPro. So those three dates really fit in and fit well. And as we saw in 2018, it was one of their strongest seasons since probably 2014, 2015. So, again, as you said, I think people will be parked at Newcastle Motorsports Park for probably a month, because you just factor in, just get there a week early and we'll just be there for a month.
Pretty much. The 2019 prize package still to be announced, but we would expect Mark Coates to match the $100,000 worth of cash and prizes that they gave out in 2018. Tremendous program, the USPKS.
Yeah, and it's not just tires and engines and of course they had the IME International Final tickets for all the champions. But you're talking grills and other products that are not karting related. So not to mention the championship rings that all the champions get, and then championship jackets as well too. So
love it. Big news, of course, coming out for the 4-cycle world as well, David, on the EKN homepage. Big announcement by Margay. They have become the new official U.S.-Canadian distributor for the Hoosier racing tire, the karting tire from Hoosier. That's some pretty big stuff. That kind of, if you think about the Ignite program, you're bringing in 3, iconic American brands in Margay, Briggs, and Hoosier, all American, all USA deal. But Margay is going to be the new distributor for Hoosier racing tire.
Say that name again.
Hoosier. What do you call it?
I know.
What do you say?
I'm Mishabama, as you know. So it's Hoosier.
What?
Hoosier.
What did I say?
It almost sounds like you have a U in there.
Hoosier. Oh, I say Hoosier, don't I?
Yes.
That's what we always cut. Listen, hey, my dad ran Hoosier racing tires. Probably in the 70s or 80s.
I know.
They've been around a long time, man.
It's a very historic brand, and we talked about this, I believe, before, thinking about a full American package. I mean, we've had the Briggs & Stratton 206 engine just growing and growing. Of course, Margay has probably been the leader in American manufacturing for karting since the sport began. Margay's been around decade after decade, with third generation with Keith Freber at the helm.
Yeah, great podcast that we had with Keith as well. He talked a bit about his history. Amazing stuff.
And so now you add this iconic tire company that is not only karting but worldwide with the motorsports. It's Hoosier.
I ran them on my Formula V too, when I had the Formula
V.
Right?
And I ran them at Rock Island Grand Prix because, again, the tire was the spec tire for all of the Briggs & Stratton classes there, aside from Margay Ignite. Yeah. So that's kind of the bigger news is, what Margay is going to be doing with the Ignite. We're told that it's going to be a Hoosier tire. They haven't announced exactly which tire is going to replace the YDS tire.
Yeah, in talking with Keith Freber at the PRI show, I think they're actually coming out with a brand new tire. They're going to work with Hoosier to come up with a brand new tire, I believe, for the Ignite program. You know what? We'll get a confirmation on that for the next edition of This Week in Karting. I'll make a call to Keith. We'll get a full update on that.
Yeah, because right now the R55 and the R60 are the two main tires that are available for Hoosier Racing Tire. But when you go to their new website, HoosierKartsport.com, you see they have 4 compounds listed. You have the R55, the R60, R70, and an R80. Well, nobody really knows what the R70 and R80 are. So those could be what we see coming in for the Ignite program.
So again, that's the pretty solid deal for Margay, and they will again, of course, the Ignite package is going to be on the new Hoosier tire, and they're just going to handle the tire for distribution for the U.S. for all the other programs as well. So again, the tire program in U.S. karting and American karting is there's a lot, as we know, there's a lot of tires out there. There's Avinco, there's MG, Bridgestone, LeConte, Vega, obviously Hoosier. There's a lot of tires all kind of vying to get club programs, but cool to see a couple of American programs coming together. So, David, let's wrap things up here right now. Let's have a look at the podcast review, some of the recent shows that are now available in podcast form. As we do with the EKN Radio Network, as soon as we do a podcast, it first is available on the network itself. We have it, running streaming throughout the days. You can always go to ekartingnews.com/radio. The schedules are there, what's coming up in the future days. So you'll be able to know what's going on. But let's talk about what you were able to edit and get up there. We got a couple new shows that are available now in podcast form.
Yeah, the most recent one is the ECAN debrief that we did for SuperKarts USA SuperNationals 22.
Longest one ever.
It was. Not if you count the previews that we did last year, because we actually had to break that up into two parts. So we're working on trying to get the longest. I think this one's going to be a pretty good one too. We got a few more topics that we can go over about, but it was a good podcast, good show, breaking down the action that happened in Las Vegas. Also available there if you haven't checked your podcast app that you have on your mobile device, or if you just haven't done it through your laptop. We have the This Week in Karting episode 2. That we taped just before the SuperNats. We also have the one that you did with Matt Jaskell, the inaugural Book It podcast, which obviously was a phenomenal show as well, getting into Matt Jaskell's life on and off the racetrack. And then just before the SuperNats as well, the Industry Insider with Mike Rollison of Rollison Performance Group. So lots of content we have available on podcast form right now.
We've got the interview with Keith Freebers up there as well, too, right?
We got everything that we've done in the last 2 years is available through the podcast.
So you can, if you whatever podcast app you have, as David says, through iTunes, it's all available for download. You can also go to Podbean, our Podbean account, and ekartingnews.com/podcast, I believe as well. David has them all lined up there. So all the podcasts, all the audio, all available now. Now, David, more stuff coming. We just did the interview. I did the interview, the Industry Insider with Andy Saisman. That's going to be available on a podcast. When are you planning on getting that ready?
That'll probably be next week.
Same with This Week in Karting. We'll get that up next week as well.
Yep.
Awesome. And I've got feelers out. I'm going to try to pin down Tom Kutcher, Mike Burrell from USAC Karting. I'm going to try to get a hold of Kevin Williams and Mike Tetro from WKA. Essentially, a lot of the industry insiders you're going to hear over the next month are going to be David and I, or just myself, talking to these guys about the 2019 season. It's all about preview. It's all about trying to get our listenership some great information on what's going on in all the different organizations that support karting in North America. What else, Dave? What else you got going on?
Well, what's coming up on ECAN? We, like you said earlier in the podcast, we're getting back to the track. In 2 weeks, we will be trackside for the WKA Daytona Kart Week 2018. That'll be December 28th through the 30th. I'll be down there for those 3 days, obviously providing our ECAN live broadcast with Eric Brennan on the microphone, and of course our daily reports and social media updates. After that, then you get to travel.
Yeah, I get to get out of the cold of Canada. I head down to the SuperKarts USA Winter Series first event down at AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex. Looking forward to that, January 11th, 12th, and 13th. Again, live coverage there as well on the EKN radio network. It's going to be exciting, Dave. We're back at it already. That's the crazy thing, right? It's December 13th right now. You're a couple of weeks away from heading to Daytona. Where did the 2018 season go? It blows me away that we're done. And dude, 2020 is almost here. It's just ridiculous.
It's like a child. It just comes and goes.
It does. Lots of great stuff coming on ekartingnews.com, folks, as well. For those of you maybe looking at buying a new chassis for 2019, we're going to be coming out with our chassis showroom updated articles. So all of our EKN partners, we're going to have their full chassis lineup for you. Probably 3, maybe 4 chassis. We'll give you the inside scoop on it. We'll tell you exactly where to buy it. We'll give you the links you need to go to. But again, just kind of an overview of all the chassis that are available from all our partners on ekartingnews.com. David, anything else? Anything else you want to throw out there?
No, I got some things, but we'll save that for the next week, This Week in Karting. So
I got to get on the laptop and do a little bit of an update on the PRI show. I took a bunch of shots, photos when I was down there. I'll get them posted up on IG, on the Instagram feed, maybe a couple other places as well. But folks, awesome stuff. We have capped off this edition of This Week in Karting. I'm hoping you're listening as you roll down the road going to work or coming home. Perfect podcast for the commute to and from work. Folks, we're done. Not bad. Right about the 1 hour mark, David. Good stuff. Folks, on behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Thank you so much for tuning in to This Week in Karting on the EKN Radio Network. Bye for now.